A United States Senator from California, Alex Padilla, was just beaten, assaulted, attacked, and detained by Donald Trump's goons, by Donald Trump's FBI. U.S. Senator Alex Padilla from California showed up at a Los Angeles FBI press conference at the Los Angeles FBI office where cosplay dog killer, disastrous Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was giving a press conference. As a United States Senator, Alex Padilla showed up to ask questions. Not only was he not permitted to ask questions, he was affirmatively beaten and attacked by FBI agents who were there. He was thrown to the ground, viciously assaulted. I want you to see this with your own eyes, what went down. This is video from Alex Padilla's own staff as Padilla shows up to try to ask questions. Let's play the full video of what went down. Let's play this clip.
Exaggerate and embellishing. Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to
hands off.
Many of our ICE agents have been docked.
On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here.
I did not know.
There's no recording allowed out here per FBI, right?
So what? I'm sorry.
There's no recording allowed out here.
That's my boss. I have to.
There's no recording allowed out
here.
here.
Now, this is just breaking news. Padilla's office has just given us a statement saying that he is no longer detained after being assaulted and attacked. You saw it right there. Statement on Senator Padilla's forcible removal from DHS press conference in Los Angeles. Today, the office of the United States Senator Alex Padilla, ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Immigration Subcommittee, released the following statement after Padilla was forcibly removed from Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem's press conference while performing congressional oversight in Los Angeles. Quote, Senator Padilla is currently in Los Angeles exercising his duty to perform congressional oversight of the federal government's operations in Los Angeles and across California. He was in the federal building to receive a briefing with General Guillot and was listening to Secretary Noem's press conference. He tried to ask the secretary a question and was then forcibly removed by federal agents, forced to get to the ground, and then handcuffed. He is not currently detained, and we are working for additional information. Less than 48 hours ago, I had the opportunity to interview Senator Padilla, and the events that unfolded were essentially foreshadowed there in the sense that he talked about ICE and the Trump regime and Trump's Gestapo escalating matters and making it worse. Here's what Padilla told me when I was asking him about the ICE raids that have been conducted in Los Angeles. Let's play the clip.
So this is actually very personal for me. This is a crisis of Donald Trump's own making. When you have the Department of Homeland Security using increasingly cruel and aggressive tactics for immigration enforcement, of course, in a community as diverse as Los Angeles, you're going to have people speaking up in defense of our fundamental rights and due process, the due process rights that the Trump administration consistently has been ignoring. And so at every turn, Donald Trump will seek an excuse, make up an excuse, if necessary, to further escalate the situation. So that's what's transpired in Los Angeles. I want to thank all the folks that have been out there peacefully protesting. The vast majority of folks are peacefully and righteously protesting. And as the folks that are involved with the vandalism and whatnot, that's not helpful. It has no place in this protest or anywhere else, but it's hurting us by taking the attention away from standing up for immigrants' rights and due process and having the president and some of the press focus strictly on some of the violence and vandalism that's going on.
I then asked Padilla what his message is to people in California who are scared. And Padilla's from Los Angeles, so this is deeply personal to him as well. Play this clip.
It's hang in there, know your rights. Right, because regardless of your immigration status, you do have due process rights. If you are approached by an ICE officer or federal agent, you are not forced to respond to their questions. You have the right to access a lawyer. All those basic things. But sadly, we know that Donald Trump has been working for this moment for years and years and years. Right, the cruelty of his speech started when he came down that escalator at Trump Tower to launch his campaign for president the very first time. So as you point out, we're a far cry from him only targeting violent, dangerous criminals. That's what he talked about at the campaign trail. And I don't think, frankly, there's any disagreement with that if that was the priority and the mission. But when we hear story after story of an otherwise, law-abiding, innocent, working man, working woman providing for their family being caught up with detention and deportation operations without access to counsel, without due process, that is absolutely wrong. When you hear stories of a 4-year-old girl in the Central Valley who's dependent on life-saving treatment to keep her alive, being noticed that she's going to be deported. Thankfully, they rescinded that, but only because of the public pressure that was mounted against the administration in that particular case. For a federal agent to show up in houses of worship, in schools, you're talking about, the high school graduation in HP. Yes, we call Huntington Park HP, or even in elementary schools recently in Los Angeles, misrepresenting that they had parental approval to talk to kids. What is Donald Trump doing? And so, of course, it's enraging. We have to continue to speak up, not just organizing in the communities in Los Angeles and around the state and around the country, but know that we're going to fight and keep pushing here in Congress, demanding information and calling them on every overreach, every out of policy or every unconstitutional tactic that they continue to try to deploy.
Now, again, almost foreshadowing the incident that took place, I showed Senator Padilla a video of the labor union president from the SEIU, David Huerta, when ICE agents attacked Huerta, threw him to the ground, and then charged him with interfering the ICE agent raids of just hardworking migrants. Huerta was charged. He's been charged with a felony, and I showed Padilla the incident that happened to David Huerta. And now the incident that happened to David Huerta, where Trump's Gestapo, the ICE agents, threw Huerta to the ground. You saw the video. It just happened to Padilla. Here, play this clip. And so based on what everybody saw there, the DOJ then doubled down. They charged him with conspiracy to impede an officer. There's a criminal complaint. His arraignment is today. And so we're seeing the weaponization of the Department of Justice as well, and in trying to make an example of a union leader like David Huerta. What's your response to that situation?
Yeah, well, first of all, my heart goes out to David and his family. I've known David for many, many years. He's not just a local leader. He's a local hero for his advocacy for working people as president of his SIU local and his leadership at the state level. But look, I can't help but take this personally. Born and raised in Los Angeles, proud son of immigrants from Mexico. So let's for a moment go back to California in the year 1994. When Governor Pete Wilson was struggling in his reelection campaign. So what does he do? He starts trying to blame all of California's woes at the time on immigrants and the immigrant community. He championed a ballot measure known as Proposition 187, sort of a precursor to all this anti-immigrant rhetoric that we're hearing coming out of the White House today. It was, to me, personally offensive and insulting, so much that I left an engineering career behind to get involved in politics, to commit to public service. And thankfully, California is much different politically today than it was back then. But the attacks keep coming. And if anything, we should look at that California narrative of people like my parents who had been here for years and years and years without any urgency of becoming a citizen, finally doing so, and so many others like them doing the same. You had my generation, we were a little bit younger at the time, but committing ourselves to organizing and advocating. That's why California is the California of today. That should be a model for other communities across the country to follow. Let's get through these difficult, challenging times, but build on them and build that better future. Consider this. California is not just the most populous state in the nation. We are the most diverse state in the nation, home to more immigrants than any state in the nation, mostly documented, yes, some undocumented. But California is also the largest economy of any other state in the nation by far. The fourth largest economy in the world, not despite its immigrant population, but thanks to the contribution of the immigrant community as workforce, as consumers, as entrepreneurs. So not only is the administration attacking the immigrant community in the way that they're doing, cruel and inhumane, in some ways unlawful and unconstitutional, but they're doing it against our own interests. Focus on the violent criminals, but leave the hardworking people that our economy and our nation depends on. They deserve better. It'd be a whole different thing entirely if Trump said, we'll focus a little bit on enforcement, and then here's the plan to modernize our immigration system. That's where our focus and our conversation ought to be. I can tell you that's where we want to be as a Senate and as a Congress. But as long as Donald Trump is around, you're seeing their overreach and their cruelty at every turn. And the last thing, because I think this is also important, timing is everything, right? His tariff war is failing tremendously. There's certainly no peace between Ukraine and Russia right now. And so when all else fails for Donald Trump, what does he do? His fallback is always demonize immigrants. It's attack immigrants because he thinks that's what plays well with his political base.
And, let me just share with you that video of Padilla being assaulted one more time, just because this is such unprecedented times in American history that we literally have United States senators being body slammed to the ground and handcuffed by FBI agents. Let's watch that video one more time. Let's play it.
Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to
hands off.
specifically how many of our ICE agents have been docked.
On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go, I'd put behind my back.
All right. Cool. Other hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here. I did not know. There's no recording allowed out here per FBI rights for the building. So what? I'm sorry? There's no recording allowed out here. That's my boss. I have to. There's no recording allowed out here. You can record. There's no recording allowed out here. I'm not a member. There's no recording allowed. I understand that, sir, but.
Horrible, horrible stuff. We'll keep you updated. We have additional calls out to Senator Padilla's office, and we will keep you posted with more as we learn more. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe, and let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.